Hi guys, just thought I would finish up my demo with the coffee pour overs just to show you the trimming side of things. You may remember from the last video I was making these pieces with a really thick bottom down here. So I have a number of these here. You can see the bottom is sort of just kind of a little bit of a thick slab, and it does not yet have, have a hole. What I need to do now is to get them like this. So here is one in the next stage. So you can see that it's been trimmed thinner. I've actually added a little bit of extra clay to the foot ring, which I'll show you in a minute. And then the hole has been added. So this one is now ready for the final step, which is to put a handle on it. And I actually have one of those too, right here. So then in this case, I've used the lug handle, slightly different one than before, which I like a little bit better, to go from this to this. So here's sort of all three stages of what needs to do to make this finished. Okay, so let me set up and then I will show you the trimming. Okay, for this video I thought I'd give you a slightly different angle which allows you to see the wheel head a little bit better. I've got on here a piece of clay that I put on and flattened. It's not super duper soft. It's I used this as a base when I was putting that bat on before, but it's soft enough that it will easily kind of help hold this piece into place. So again, I won't try to talk about absolutely everything that's happening, but the first thing I need to do is center this back on the wheel head. A lot of times I tap to center, but in this case, I think I can get pretty close, and now I'll tap a little bit. There we go. All right, so now that this is in place, because of this piece of clay, I can just put a little bit of pressure on it and it'll usually stay. But I'm also got a little bit of fresh clay here, so I'll put some little lugs just to help hold it a little bit. I realize that this project is actually a great project if you are learning how to trim, because you, unlike most things, I'm gonna have to put a hole in here anyway, and by putting a hole in here, I can actually see the depth. So most cases you're trying to trim and not make a hole. In this case, the hole will help me get the sense of the depth. The other thing is I can put my fingers in here and feel the thickness of the clay. So I've got kind of two ways to gauge thickness. First thing I want to do though is just look for anything that might be uneven across there. I want to kind of flatten that out a little bit. This is the trimming tool that I'm using. It's made by Mud Tools. I really like this particular model. I use it quite a lot. It's more personal preference than anything. All right, so I'm going to start by taking a little bit off of the sides. And remember, I left a lot of clay here, so I also have a lot of clay here, so it's okay for me to trim this down a little bit. So I like to have, again, I think I said this before, I like to trim, and so I've given myself a lot of room to be able to trim how I want. Clay is slightly wetter than I particularly would like, but because of some other things I have to do today, I'm going to go ahead. You want the clay to come off in ribbons like this, which it's doing. You don't want the ribbons to stick back down to the pot. This is just slightly, tiny bit tacky, so it's okay to trim now, but I like to trim personally a little bit later than this. If you're getting little short curls, you've waited too long. All right, so as you can kind of see, I'm able to trim away, and I've left this part here in the middle because this is going to define that inner ring. And because this has to fit inside a mug, that inner ring is much closer to the middle than I would put it like for a standard something that I was going to, like a mug or something that I would be trying to have sit firmly on the table. This would be a little bit wobbly just left to its own devices. So in this case, that's going to be okay. It's actually necessary. So just going to keep trimming a little. Also, I just like that to have a nice soft round curve right there. I'm trimming a little bit off the edge. Now I can feel that it's thinner here, and then as I go in, I can feel my fingers separating. So I know there's plenty more to take from here to here. So I can define this a little bit more. I like to try to define where the foot is and then move from there to an edge, as opposed to just coming all the way in. It gives me a little bit more sense of control. Yeah, now it's starting to define pretty well. Not much to do, not much to tell you, I should say, other than you can just kind of see the process right now. Try to keep two hands on the tool, hands touching, just like when you're throwing. I've seen some people who try to trim like this. I think this is a really bad idea. I always try to keep a hand on the middle of the pot as long as I can, and two hands on the, also on the tool. Okay, now I'm getting pretty good to a place where the outside of this ring is starting to be defined. Just define it a tiny bit more. Now I can work on the inside. So I'm going to start here in the middle. Work my way towards the edge and then stop. And just go down from there. Now I can use this, the depth of this, as a guide to how deep I can go here. Okay, now I'm getting pretty close to the same depth. And now I can make the hole, which can guide me even further. So for the hole, I'm using just a standard fettling knife, which I'm just going to very carefully work right into the middle of the clay while it's spinning. So actually the spinning lets me know that I'm in the middle. Okay, there we go. I can clean this out. Now looking into the hole, I see I've got quite a bit left that I can still trim. So I can go ahead and use that as a gauge now to set my depth more efficiently or more completely. Looking like this one might not need any extra clay to define the foot ring, which is great. a nice healthy ring right there. I'm gonna just spend a little bit of time cleaning that up. Make it just a hair thinner. Notice again that the wheel's not going very fast. I'm also going to make it, I want the outside edge to slightly go in so that when it goes into a mug, it'll kind of slide in with a little bit of forgiveness. So put a little tiny bevel on the outside of that. All right. Okay, one last little bit. Feel it, make sure it feels good. Feels pretty good through there. Probably take off just a touch more right there. Okay, great. In this case, I'm going to also very carefully just push down on this just to smooth it out a little bit. And this one's ready. So I can pick it up, I can feel the balance. The balance feels great. You can see there's the hole on the inside. I still need to clean that out a little bit, but that's okay. Foot ring looks good. It's got plenty of room to sit. I'll put a stamp on this and I'll be done. Thanks guys, that's trimming the pour over. So I will post an image of these when they're all done. I got about 6 down and 6 to go. So I gotta get to work. See you later, bye.